and this is my channel. You can see that those lines of demarcation on the canvas there. I tried something with a texture paste and it didn't work out so good, so I'm just going to reuse the canvas and embrace those texture marks that are already there and turn it into something else. This is an attempt at a landscape of some kind, but I still want it to look like a pour, but have that landscape quality to it, if that makes sense. That looks like white, at least from where I'm sitting, but you can see when my arm goes between the canvas and the light source, you get to see that that is an aqua on there. I'm just attempting to use up some of that gray again, which is going down nicely, that runoff paint that I've been collecting, and we'll just use this as our sky. You can see near the bottom of the tape that concentration of the aqua, the gray, and the white. That looks a little bit on the heavy side. That's the paint getting stuck on that texture paste. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because it is helping to look like a land formation there, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. The one time I'm not attempting to get any bubbles of color coming up through the layers. The one time I don't want that to happen, of course it's happening, but that's okay. This is abstract after all, so who's to say where this is and on what planet this is and what could be in the sky? And because of that texture paste near the bottom there, I know the paint isn't going anywhere. It's stopped there, so I don't feel bad about taking the paint off it. The tape off at this point. Nothing's going to run down into that black area. And I don't know at this point whether this is going to be water, whether this is going to be some other kind of land. I have no idea. Probably water in my head, I'm thinking. But we'll see. I'm just going to lay down a nice base of this black, and we're going to do a swipe over it with some white. And that wasn't so hot. I don't think I had enough black paint on, to be honest. I think that's what went wrong here. Yep, that's what it was. Not enough paint, not enough black paint. Needs something fluid there to swipe over. And I went and sort of palette knifed it to death and made it a little too thin. This is not the easiest thing for me. Ever since my stroke in 2019, I've been, I just don't have the control with my left hand, and my shoulder is there's a lot of movement in my left shoulder, so even when I'm trying to be careful with my good hand, which is my right hand, the left side of me makes the other side move whether I like it or not. So I have a really hard time being precise, shall we say. Now we're going to try go back in with some damp paper towel, see if we can sort of fix the mess we already made. When I use something stiffer like the acetate or a cardstock or something to swipe over, I have a hard time with the pressure. Either too much pressure, not enough pressure. So I thought here, well, let's try a damp paper towel. It has a light touch, and maybe that's all I need. It's a little bit better, but I didn't start out properly with the black base, and that's sort of, I'm just struggling against going wrong in the first place and trying to save something. It's coming though. It's not horrible. It's not bad. Now I'm trying to add back on some of that aqua across rather than the white. It's still looking rather white, but it is putting a little bit of color on. That's better. Nice and smooth. Yeah, I want to come from the other side, from the other way, but I can't. There's just some things I can't do from the other side. So we flip the canvas and use the same direction that works for me. Okay, the canvas is dry now. And now we're just going to add some more interest right above that shoreline. So this is just a piece of cardstock that I drew some quick mountaintop shapes on and then cut out. And I'm going to use some homemade texture paste just to make them look like the snowy tops of the mountains. Texture paste is really simple if you don't have any bought stuff hanging around the house. It's just a tablespoon of white glue, a tablespoon of white acrylic paint, and about 3 tablespoons of baking soda, and then just mix it really good together. I don't like to mix up too much at a time, just for 1 or 2 projects maybe. Keep it covered with either a lid, some jar with a lid, or with some saran wrap or something. Just a little indecision here, trying to figure out where I want to put the next ones. And you can see down in that area where I'm just going over things with my finger, I also had some texture paste down there in the corner. So I'm going ahead and highlighting that again and making it look like another piece of land that is jutting out on the corner, bottom corner there. This is an attempt to make some little tree stalks here for my point of reference, so I can fill in with a few trees. I can't do fine line painting at all with a paintbrush, so I'm using the side of this playing card just to make the tree trunks. And then I'll go back in with a brush and try to make them look like trees. I am not that kind of an artist at all, but every once in a while I still like to try. the idea is to do some fainter, sort of smoky gray ones in the background for the trees that look like they're farther away, and then make the ones a little bit closer, a little bit darker. And now going back in with a little bit of grayish white just to give some highlight to those trees, which I usually have to do about 3 or 4 times. Back to the black, back to the white, back to the black, back to the white to get it right. Like I said, this is not my forte. And we mustn't forget about those little trees down in the bottom corner. And here we are. Not sure. Jury's still out on whether I keep this or whether this just becomes one of those learning experience canvases. It's definitely interesting. It's not, I don't know if it's what I had in mind when I started. Probably started with the sky being quite weird looking, but like I said, who's to say this is Earth and not some distant planet somewhere else? I think definitely we can say one of those paintings that probably looks a whole lot better from a greater distance away. And just to prove that I have done some landscapish type of paintings before in the past that have turned out a lot better, here you go. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time.